Happy Halloween, everyone! Welcome back to the René of Paris channel. Today's video is, of course, going to be a costume tutorial for Marceline the Vampire Queen from Adventure Time. My name is Abby Andrew, and normally I talk about wigs on our channel from the perspective of a daily wig wearer as somebody with alopecia, so obviously this is a wig right now. This is Lennox from our René of Paris line, but I'm also a daily wig wearer in my day-to-day life as well. And I also cosplay, so I also love doing different costume looks, and having a collection of really high quality wigs for my daily wig wearing as someone with alopecia is a really great opportunity to be able to also use those wigs for costume looks and have that really high quality component for the costume look if it's a wig that you already have in your collection. Now, of course, any of these wigs can be just, if you want to just purchase it for your costume, you totally can do that. But if you're also someone who already has a big collection of wigs, it's really fun to look at what you already have to also use that for costumes as well. So these are pieces that can be worn for day-to-day wear, like I do, or of course, you can wear them for different fantasy costume looks. Lennox is one of my all-time favorite wig styles. I have it in a couple different colors and I wear it all the time, but I also thought it would be perfect for this Marceline look. If you're not familiar with Adventure Time, Marceline is a character from that, and she is a vampire. She does not drink blood, she drinks the color red, so it's a fun little twist on the classic trope. But of course, even if you aren't familiar with Marceline or Adventure Time, you can also use this makeup tutorial for just a generic vampire look as well. So I have some red contacts in, I have these elf ears on, which I also used some face paint on, but for the makeup look, a lot of it is pretty straightforward day-to-day makeup, but the key component is the face paint, and I like to use Sunset Makeup, which is a colorful foundation. I'll get into more details on that later. And then when you're wearing face paint, you want to make sure you really set it well with a translucent powder and lots of setting spray, and that way it will last throughout the whole night. So if you want to see how I achieved this makeup look, let's jump right into it right now. For starters, I already put my contacts in. It's best practice to put your contacts in before the makeup process. And first, I'm going to go ahead and apply primer. For this look, I'll be doing face paint. I like to use Sunset Makeup, which is actually a colorful foundation, so I find that it's a little bit easier to apply than a typical face paint. But you can also use face paint brands like Miron is a really good one as well. Putting a primer on first will help ensure that the face paint goes on smoothly, and also protect your skin from staining if you're using a bright color, but the gray shouldn't stain too badly anyway. Because this is a glueless wig, it's really easy to just pull it back as I need to apply the makeup. It looks a little funny right now. You could also just do it without the wig on at all. I'm gonna start with one pump of this on a little sponge, and then just go ahead and start applying it to the face. Again, because this is just a colorful foundation, it applies just like foundation, which makes the whole process much easier. As you get close to the hairline, you can just slightly pull the wig back if you are already wearing it. And I'm also going to start applying it to any parts of my skin that will be visible, like on my neck and shoulders. Applying setting powder to the foundation is what's going to help it from getting all over the place and getting on your clothing. So especially as I'm applying it near where the clothing is going to be, I want to set it right away just to lock it in so it's not going to get all over everything. I'm actually using a gray setting powder from Sunset Makeup as well, but you can also just use a translucent setting powder. Before I put the wig back into place, I'm also going to put the setting powder along there just to really lock it in so it's not going to get all over the hair. Because this setting powder does have a pigment, it also helps to fill in any places where you might have missed with the foundation or face paint, just to really get that even color. I would also go ahead and set this with a setting spray before putting the wig back in place. That way it's really locked in before you put the wig back on. If you do get any of the face paint or makeup on your wig, it should just be able to wash out in the washing process. If you are using any sort of brightly colored face paint for a different look, maybe be a little extra careful from getting that on the lace or anything in case it does stain, because some face paints can be staining, but this gray should be okay. I'm going to finish the rest of the body face paint after the rest of the look is done. That's why it's not getting all over everything. The trick to making face paint look really good is to add blush, contour, highlight, things like that within the color scheme that you're working with. And so I wouldn't use my regular highlight and contouring shades, I'm going to use ones that match with gray. So for contour, I'll use a little bit of a slightly darker gray. And for highlight, with this kind of shade, I could almost even use a white to almost act as like under eye concealer. So I'm just going to take a dark gray eyeshadow and just kind of add any place I want some more shadows to be, starting with the eye. I'm going to do my brows on top like I normally do. This is the CoverGirl 1mm Nano Clean Fresh Brow Pencil. I'm just going to pencil in the brows. You can just do your brows however you might normally do them. And now I'm just going to do a black liquid eyeliner. Just drawing a cat eye on both sides, just a thin line on the eyelid, and I'm also going to be putting a fake lash on top of this. To help the brows stand out a little bit more on the gray face paint, I'm going to use a black liquid eyeliner and just add a couple little flicks of this just to kind of create that brow hair effect over the face paint. You could also use a dark brow pencil for this. And now for the highlights, I'm just going to put a tiny bit of white face paint where I'd normally add concealer or highlighter. So I'm just going to put a little bit under my eye and blend that with the gray that's already there. Now I'm taking a black pencil liner and just using that to get a little bit closer to my eye. For lashes, for a cosplay look, I prefer to do a big dramatic pair like this because I feel like it gives you that really cartoonish look, but you can use whichever style you think looks best. When you take the lash out, measure it against your eye without any glue on it and just see where you need to trim it, because usually the lash band is a bit longer than the length of your eye, and then you can just take a scissor and cut off that amount. Usually about that much. And now I'm going to use a dark drawing lash glue to apply it because that will blend in really seamlessly with the eyeliner. This is the Eye Envy from Kiss Super Strong Hold. I really like this one because it's a brush-on lash glue. I like to apply it both to the lash band and to my eyelid because with the brush-on lash glue you actually have the flexibility to apply it to your eyelid. If you really struggle with applying lashes, we have whole separate tutorials on how to do that, but I would recommend trying brushing the lash glue only onto your eyelid because that makes it a little bit easier to apply when the glue is just on your eyelid already. But make sure you are using a lash glue that is safe to brush directly near your eye like this one. And it kind of applies just like eyeliner. And you want to put a really thin layer. You don't need to overdo it with the glue. Make sure you give your lash glue time to set so that it's not too wet when you're applying it. You want it to be a little bit tacky. And then I like to line up the inner corner first, put that into place, and then just slowly roll out the rest of the lash band. And you can kind of use your fingertips to lightly press it in place and make sure the band is fully touching your eyelid. And then as the lashes are drying, you could lightly press them up just to make sure they're drying in an upright position. To give more of a cartoonish eye effect, I'm going to be using a white pencil eyeliner, putting that around my waterline, and then kind of outlining it with some more black eyeliner. I'm also going to use this white as a little bit of a highlight as well over the gray. And now I'm going back in with a liquid eyeliner and I'm kind of drawing on the look of little bottom eyelashes just to give that cartoonish eye look. For the lips, you have a little bit of creative freedom here because I'm pretty sure her mouth is just like a straight line. So I'm going to do a black lipstick, but you could probably also do red lipstick. I am using this black lip liner from NYX. And that's pretty much it for the makeup look on the face. I'm also going to be adding some elf ears because she does have little pointy ears. And I'm going to be taking the face paint and just lightly coating these in the gray face paint just so they match the rest of the skin tone. For this, you want to lightly dab it on instead of brushing it because it'll probably just brush right off of this texture. But if you kind of use a little dabbing sponge motion, it should stay, and then you can set it to make it really last. Then just make sure you set the makeup with a really good setting spray. Use lots of translucent powder and setting powder, and then your makeup should last all through the night. So here is the completed look with the ears, the contacts really add a fun look to it, and then of course with a really nice wig like this Lennox wig from the René of Paris line. This is the color Dark Chocolate. It really just adds such a high quality component to your costumes, and if you're already a daily wig wearer or a frequent wig wearer and you already have something like this in your collection, it's a really great opportunity to use it for a costume and have a really high quality wig for the look if it's a wig that you happen to already have. If you don't already have the long brunette hair, this will really just make it look like it's your own hair growing out of your head rather than using like a cheap costume wig or something like that, and it really just completes the look. Let us know in the comments below what you're going to be this Halloween. Do you have any costume plans coming up? Are you going to be Marceline, another Adventure Time character, something with face paint? Let us know. We'd love to see your plans. And if you are using a René of Paris wig for your costume, definitely tag us in any of your posts. We would love to see what you do with our wigs, and maybe we will reshare some of them as well. You can check out our website, reneofparis.com, for more info on wigs like Lennox and lots of other incredible styles. Also, be sure to follow us on both Instagram and YouTube at René of Paris to stay up to date in all of our latest wig releases and for lots more wig tips and tutorials. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a wonderful Halloween, and we'll see you next time!